This is my thought. You think about the size of dicks that people have.
I just made a bet with Matt, $100, he can't stick $125 worth of $5 chips in his mouth. We'll see what happens. So you're gonna put the chips in the bag.
I'll try that way.
So okay, yeah. I mean, how many attempts do you get? I mean, I'll give you one with a bag and one without a bag. I mean, that's pretty strong, dude. Do you feel, looking at that, you feel like you can do it?
Listen,
Like, you know, get this in your mouth.
bro, it's done. Done.
This week we went to Derby Lane on Thursday night, Friday night. I don't really remember. We had a few drinks, played some poker. It didn't go my way. Holdem was pretty rough. I sat down and ran into a big hand. It's posted. Couldn't get anything going all night. Same thing in PLO. Generally, you make some hands in PLO, but not for me. Just kind of cold decked. I didn't share a ton of hands because honestly, I just didn't have that many hands to share. And I'm not trying to like make this into some bad beat posting thing where I just am constantly posting coolers. I'd rather post interesting hands. Unfortunately, I only played really like one interesting hand and I didn't get it on video. I do have it in the replayer, but I just don't think that that makes for a good vlog footage. So instead, I am posting the more interesting things and the fun hands and the fun things that we did play, the bomb pots, the weird situations that I got in. Me and Matt made a bet to see how many chips he could fit in his mouth. So stuff like that's a little bit more appealing to me and more fun. So vlog 2. Okay, this was the first hand of the night. I sat down with $500 stack in the big blind. This was the first hand I played, and there was a $6 straddle on the button, which is pretty common in this game. Small blind had called the straddle, and I decided to call with a 6 of spades, 6 of diamonds. Villain in this hand was under the gun, +1. Younger kid who struck me as a little bit more aggressive just because he had the biggest stack on the table, probably a competent player. So he opens to 25. I give him a pretty wide range here. The button folds, or folds to the button, he folds, small blind folds, and I decided to take a flop. The flop comes down 6 of clubs, 9 of clubs, 3 of spades. Really good flop for us. And I think I'm okay with leading versus opponents who I believe are tighter and have overpairs or are going to check back ace kings but call a bet. So I'm okay leading versus those opponents. Versus aggressive opponents, I think I prefer to check call or check raise. This particular line, I should be check raising probably slightly more than check calling. But I'm going to get stacks in versus hands like 9-9, 3-3 regardless by the river. So I didn't see a lot of merit in check raising and blowing him off of his hands like 7-7, 8-8. Hands that are good bluff candidates that he may continue to bluff. I did decide to check call. Based off of his sizing bet of 25, I check called. And my plan was to actually lead most turns. The only turn I wasn't going to lead was like
probably clubs. But the plan was to lead most turns and try to get stacks in by the river. My hand's strong enough, and if he has nines, then he has it. So the turn's a 10 of diamonds, and the hands that beat us are 7-8, 9-9, 10-10. And then, he probably has some hands like Jack 10 of clubs, Ace 10 of clubs, King 10 of clubs, Queen 10 of clubs, Ace 5 of clubs. I didn't know this player, so I didn't know his opening range, but I'm sure he also has some suited hands, 7-8s. But our hand's too strong to fold ever, so I'm leading here with the intent to get stacks in, which is what I do. Lead 55. He raises to 145, and at this point I think I just have to stick it in versus this opponent. I'm just going to stick with the plan, and if he has 9-9 or 10-10, which are his two most likely candidates, then he wins the pot. So I do jam, and the villain decides to call, and he does show me the 7-8 of clubs, so that was a very unlucky flop for us. Okay, this was one of the last hands at the Holdem table. There were a couple people walking, and we were shorthanded. There was a straddle to $6. I decided to raise Queen 9 off on the cutoff. Get a flat from the button, an older gentleman off of a shorter stack. Both the blinds fold, and we see a flop of 10-9-8 with the 10-8 of clubs. I'm fine to continue here. If I'm being honest, I wasn't really paying attention to his stack. I knew he was short, but I didn't take the time to count or look. I knew the game was ending, and I was heading over to PLO, so just a little bit hurried. I decided to continue for 25. He rips for 57, and with the Queen of Clubs, a pair, gutter, I think I'm way behind here a lot, but just going to call. I show him the Queen of Clubs, let him know that's what he has to dodge, is running clubs and the Queen, and also the gutter. He says that's an interesting card and shows me the Ace of Clubs, Ace of Hearts, but with the 4 of Diamonds turn and a Queen of Spades river, it was unlucky for him that we got there. So small pot, small victory in the Holdem tables before we decided to roll on to PLO.
Coming back, sir. Yeah. That's not the way we've been doing it.
Why not?
Okay, so this was the end of the night, and we decided to do a bomb pot in PLO. $50 bomb pot. This was going to be my last hand, although they did continue to play. The night wasn't going our way, so it was just time to call it. And we had all had a few drinks, so we were gambling, having fun. And we decided to do a $50 bomb pot. So everyone throws in 50. There's 250 in the pot, and we were going to do a double board. So we were going to see 2 flops, and the first flop comes 10 deuce deuce. While the second flop comes king 3-3. We have the ace jack 6-3, so pretty good look for us. Although we missed the first board, it's likely our opponents did too for the most part. But it checks to us, and we decide to bet around half pot, so 110, and it folds to villain, who I believe you can see his hand is Queen 9-9-3, and the turn on the first board is an ace, so very good for us. Probably a card I would bet if on the second board the turn wasn't a king. So I think a lot of his calling range is kings. But we decided to check it through on both boards. The river's a 5 of clubs on the board we have a 3 on, and the river is another deuce on the board that we had the ace jack on. So sucks, we got counterfeited, we ended up chopping the pot, but we did end up winning a little bit in the hand to end the night.
Maybe they run out of cards sometimes. That might happen.
Deuce on the river, boy. Deuce on the river. All right, this has to be probably the craziest thing that's ever happened to me at a poker table. Luckily, it wasn't for that much money, and it was a friend. Not that I would ever do this to a stranger, but pretty wild. I've never seen this happen. I was playing next to my friend. We had had a few drinks. It was on him to act. He had like $117 left, I think, and he had limped under the gun. I believe I raised a 50, and there were 2 callers in the middle, and he limp re-raised from under the gun to the 117 or whatever it was. And I couldn't tell if he was all in because his left arm was covering his chip stack, or what I thought would be a smaller chip stack. So to see if there was anything behind, in my drunken stupor, I decided to grab his hand and go to lift his hand up. And so I had said, "Are you all in?" In lifting his hand, he actually still had a hold of his cards and exposed 3 of his cards. So me, in lifting his hand, exposed his Jack Deuce. Not that I had a hand that I was ever folding. You'll see in the video. I did decide to call because that's what I would have done had I not seen his hand as well. But I was just curious if he had any behind. And the other 2 players decided to fold. We get the craziest run out ever. You'll hear me call for the jack. The jack comes. You'll hear him run off and start screaming and talking trash. And so then my mood changes. I actually wanted to get there on him. I felt bad at first, but after he started talking some trash, I really wanted to hit my card. So I'm rooting for myself. Pretty crazy thing. I've never seen it happen. There was a guy at the table that actually called the floor. Kind of wanted to get my hand mucked a little bit. It was a weird situation, but you know, luckily we're buddies and it was all in good fun. But and it wasn't a stranger. Not that it would have happened that way, but yeah, check it out. It's a funny clip. Luckily, I got a little bit of it on film.
3 players, 1's all in.
Jack.
Suck that dick, motherfucker!
Hey, he said dick. Muck his hand. Muck his hand. Can't curse
They're all in, baby!
I don't know what you're
Hey, sir.
Diamond! Diamond, do it to him! Do it to him! Or 3, diamond. Let's go! It played itself. The hand played itself.
Every place I place, that's a dead hand. That's completely dead.
To be honest, I've never seen that before.
Because you cause an action, right?